Good evening and welcome to episode 42. And let me start by wishing everybody a very Merry Christmas when it comes in a day or two's time. Tonight we have more requests and more carols. I just want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, because this Christmas is a different Christmas. And lots of people have been in touch to say that over and above the normal Organist entertains where you get to sing your favourite hymns, that these last 4 Organist entertains have been especially special, because Christmas, as we know, only comes round once per year, and we only get one chance to sing our Christmas carols. So these last 4 Organist entertains have allowed people to have a little bit of normal, perhaps in your homes, but still singing Christmas carols in the context of virtual church and with one of the best pipe organs in Lanarkshire. So enough from me, and let's get started with tonight's carols and requests. The first carol that we have tonight isn't a request, but I was aware that it hadn't yet featured in any of our Christmas Organist entertains. It is the carol, "It Came Upon the Midnight Clear." This was reminded to me when I was looking through previous choir carol concerts and services for our lessons and carols that we had this morning, that the choir sang a version of "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear," but to the other tune, the American tune. And I thought, we'll have that tonight. So here we have the carol, "It Came Upon the Midnight Clear," for our last Christmas Organist entertains. thinking about the Nativity and the characters, shall we say, in it, we've sang about the angels, we've sang about the baby Jesus, but I don't think we've sang about the shepherds and the kings yet. So our second carol tonight is While Humble Shepherds Watched Their Flocks. And I always need to remember those words, because when I was at school, we sometimes called it While Humble Shepherds Wash Their Socks. And I sometimes get the words muddled up. However, the choir here at Bellshill Central know that I get my words mixed up quite often, but not tonight. We have the carol, While Humble Shepherds Watched Their Flocks. Sticking with the shepherds, we have a carol which I'm sure lots of us know from either being at school as a pupil or being at school as a parent, and even, of course, Sunday school nativities with the Sunday school children up front in church singing their little hearts out. It's the carol, It Was on a Starry Night, which talks about the shepherds when the hills were bright and earth lay sleeping, sleeping, calm and still. I think I got the words right. So here is a gentler carol. It was on a starry night. Now, here are some carols which have been requested by you. Away in a manger, no crib for a bed, is a carol which we must always sing at Christmas time. And it's always a carol which is included in our nativity services across the land. We've had it before in Organist Entertains, but it's been requested again. And that is a good thing. It's a much loved carol, and it should be sang as often as needed. Away in a Manger has been requested tonight by Mark Nightingale, who is an organist in Hyde in Cheshire. I believe today is his mum's 85th birthday, and this is one of her most favourite of carols. Mark, unfortunately, hasn't been able to see his mum since March because she's in a nursing home. And due to COVID-19 and the various restrictions, he's not able to see her. So this carol is very, very special to Mark. And I hope, Mark, that in your own way that you're able to celebrate Mum's birthday and have this special carol played tonight. Here we have Away in a Manger. Continuing with our requests, we have a carol requested by Tony Newnham. Tony is a retired minister and an active church organist. Tony's not been too well these past few weeks, so we do send our wishes to you, Tony, from people here in Bellshill Central and the wider family of Bellshill Central through our Organist Entertains. The hymn that you have requested is Christians Awake, which is a hymn which isn't sung often, certainly north of the border. And I think it's not because it's set to the tune of Yorkshire, but it's a hymn which is still in our hymn books and is a beautiful tune. And I do hope that you enjoy this, Tony, especially since you are not able to play any carol services or any Christmas concerts because of our current circumstances. So thank you for requesting Christians Awake, and we do send you our good wishes that you are keeping better and stay well. Continuing on the theme of the characters in the Nativity, we've not heard from the kings yet, so we have two carols. As with gladness men of old, did the guiding star behold. I always have to remember and play this correctly, because in our hymn book, the first line of music is repeated, and I quite often forget the repeat marks and plough on into the last third of the hymn, whilst the choir and congregation are still in the middle bit. So I've managed that tonight, even without anybody singing round about me, for the carol, As with Gladness Men of Old. And I do hope that you enjoy this uplifting and joyful carol as we think about the kings. Sticking with the kings, we have the carol, We Three Kings of Orient Are. I love this carol. It conjures up an image in my head of the kings on camels. I don't know whether it's to do with the timing of it, the key of it, but that's just a picture that is conjured up in my mind with this carol. This carol reminds us of the gifts that were brought to the baby Jesus, gold, frankincense and myrrh. And I do hope that you enjoy this carol. It usually features at Bellshill Central's watch night service with the children as the kings come in, down the aisles, and it's usually three characters from the Bellshill Central Church family, dressed up in their dressing gowns, with crowns round their head, usually looking a bit bemused and bewildered. But that's the characters that they're playing. They're playing our version of the Three Kings. So anyway, we have the carol, We Three Kings of Orient Are, and I do hope that you enjoy this good sing. Our next request isn't a carol, but it is a song which is a sacred song and melody. It is the Holy City. Now, this could be associated with Easter, but it is just as appropriate for Christmas time. It's been requested by my mum, Mary Matthew, and she has memories of Thompson Scott singing this in the Wishaw churches, a tenor soloist of a fine voice and much loved by many. Now, I know that Jeanette McIntyre watches these Organist entertains, and Thompson Scott was Jeanette's dad. So Jeanette, this will hold very special memories for you too. So Mum, here's your request tonight, the Holy City, and I do hope that everyone enjoys it. Our next request is a carol of sorts. It's been requested by Bellshill Central Church member and choir member Alexa Walker. It's the song, When a Child is Born. Now, because this is a softer song, you get to hear some of the softer stops on the organ here at Bellshill Central. And we start with the wonderful sounding oboe. So thank you, Alexa, for requesting this song, and you've probably thought that I've forgotten about it. I hadn't. I was just holding it back until the final Christmas episode. So I hope it's been worth the wait, Alexa, and for everyone else, as we now have When a Child is Born. Our next request isn't a song or a carol or a hymn. It's a piece of organ music. It has been requested by Mary MacLeod, who is one of our friends from Craiglockhart Church in Edinburgh. Mary has been in touch to say that she's enjoying the Organist entertains, especially over this festive period. Being a choir member, she's frustrated, like the rest of us, at not being able to get to church and sing her favourite hymns, songs and carols. So singing at home kind of makes up for that. And Mary is doing that at home with her husband, who is also a choir member. The piece of music which Mary has requested is an organ piece by Alexandra Guillemont, and it is Noël Écossais, which roughly translates as a Scottish Christmas. Now, Guillemot is a French composer, so this piece has a French feel to it, but it also has a Scottish feel to it. It has that distinctive Scotch snap, which is a quick note followed by a long note, which is very, very familiar in most of our Scottish country music. But it also has a sustained pedal note throughout certain sections of it, which is kind of reminiscent of the bagpipe drone. So this is a lovely piece of music which I'd forgotten all about. So thank you, Mary, for requesting it. And I do hope that everyone enjoys this softer piece for organ. Noël écossais. Our penultimate item tonight is not a carol, but it is a Christmas song, requested by John Hume, another of our friends from Craig Lockhart Church in Edinburgh. It is the Christmas song, Silver Bells. It's one of those songs and pieces of music which lots of people feel that it's not Christmas until they've heard it. Now, John said the same about O Little Town of Bethlehem, and Silver Bells may not be a carol, but it's one of those Christmas songs which, for me as well, it's not really Christmas until we've heard it. So I do hope that you enjoy this lighter piece of music, Silver Bells. Our final request tonight is a carol requested by John Hume. It's Isaac Watts' words, "Joy to the World," and this is a firm favourite of many. It normally heads the praise list here in Bellshill Central, if Christmas Day falls on a Sunday, or the following Sunday after that, because it's the first time that we in Bellshill Central get to sing that "Joy to the World, the Lord has come." And it is a great hymn which talks about shepherds tending their sheep, etc. And choir singers do really enjoy the middle section of it, because the sopranos and altos and tenors and basses get to separate and sing a little bit of echoey style singing. It's loud, it's quick, and there's really not enough verses to it, but we make do with the verses written by Isaac Watts. So our final carol tonight is the carol "Joy to the World," requested by John Hume. Before I close, I just want to share with you something which was shared with me this past week. Mary MacLeod, who had requested the organ piece by Guillemont, shared a piece of carol trivia with me. While shepherds watch their flocks by night, we all know the familiar tune to it. However, the words fit. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And I looked at the sharing of that news and thought, no, it can't be right. So I pulled out the hymn book and then sang Supercalifragilistic to get the tune in my head. And then looked at the words for "while humble shepherds watch their flocks." And it does actually go. So I challenge you all to look out your hymn books and try a little bit of this. While shepherds watched their flocks by night, all seated on the ground, the angel of the Lord came down and glory shone around. Fear not, he said, for mighty dread had seized their troubled mind. Glad tidings of great joy I bring to you and all mankind. Who would have thought it, that a hymn, a paraphrase from the Scottish history and psalter and hymn book, would fit supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So in closing with that piece of humour, I wish every single one of you a very Merry Christmas. I also wish you a Happy New Year, because tonight is the last Organist Entertains of 2020, and we return in January 2021. I hope that everyone stays safe as this episode is being recorded, restrictions are being tightened. We hear of the Christmas window where we could meet up with extra people being curtailed or even cancelled in some cases. Once Boxing Day appears, the country appears to be getting placed in another lockdown. That's going to be difficult and challenging for people. However, it's being done to keep people safe, to stop the spread of coronavirus, so that when the vaccine comes, it's going to do its job. We've kept ourselves safe just for that period while we're waiting. And that reminded me of the season of Advent, because that is a time of waiting, a time of hope and a time of expectation when we are awaiting the joyful news and announcement of Jesus' birth in a humble stable with the star overhead. So this period when we are waiting on the vaccine being distributed and given to people in the order that has been chosen, that we do wait with hope and expectation that there is a brighter tomorrow coming on the horizon. However, that's getting very serious, and it wasn't meant to do that. I wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas. This is the last outing of my Christmas jumpers, and they will come back out next year. If you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, there is a button up there or down there. There's a little bell, etc. Click it. It means you'll be notified whenever we post a new video or go live. If you're watching on Facebook, like our page. Likewise, you'll receive a notification when we go live or post a video. And last but not least, there is a donations link down there. It allows you to make a donation to Bellshill Central if you so wish. The finances of this church and every church up and down the country have been affected by the closure of the buildings, the fact that the congregation cannot gather to give their free will offerings. The halls behind me are closed, so the people that hire our halls are not able to use it. So we are a little bit challenged financially this year. So anything that you're able to give us will be greatly appreciated. And just go to the ongoing work and upkeep of the building, the church and the congregation. In closing, good night, keep safe, and we'll see you in the new year.